up so we can see your smiles. Love seeing your smiles. Morning, Kathy. How are you?
Hi,
Good to
great.
see you.
Good to see you too. How's everybody?
Doing great. We're just chit-chatting about Craigslist.
Oh yeah, what's new on Craigslist?
Well, apparently a lot.
We're trying to figure out.
Every
Good to
once in
see
a while, my husband will go through our storage here and get like old monitors and things like that and sell them on Craigslist and get a few bucks.
It's a good way to do it. Well,
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, thank you for joining us today. We know you've had a lot going on, and your husband and you are still in our thoughts and prayers. So we really appreciate you coming on and talking to us today.
Thank you so much. He's doing really well. He's doing really well.
Good.
Science is amazing. and I can tell you that the BJC team is incredible, very thorough. Just every time something comes up, they seem to have every base covered.
It's great. I tell you, it's much better to have a procedure nowadays than it was even 2 or 3 years ago.
It really is amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep them in our thoughts and prayers, and you
appreciate
also
it.
as we go forward. And we do wish you the
Yeah.
best of the holidays too coming up. So
Thank you. And I wish the same to you guys.
yeah,
I
thank you.
I had a gap between Zoom meetings, so I was just on Amazon ordering toys for the grandchildren.
Yeah. Technology is great these days.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, is there anything new that we should know about or you would like to tell us about?
Well, we're at that time of year that is like the way it was when we had COVID a lot, that it was like all the time, where the courts are kind of not around. The judges go into a little bit of, a BJC nurse, thank you for your service, because I think it's like war over there, but thank you. The judges are kind of going into hibernation for a while. You can't find clerks. We have to bear gifts to the courthouse. We're technically not allowed to give huge amounts of money or anything like that. We bring around boxes of candy and little calendars with photos on them and that kind of thing to try to stay in everyone's good graces. But this is the time of year where if you wanted to file something, you're not going to get heard until after the first of the year. And if you have something on a docket in December, you might not be able to execute on it until after the first of the year with respect to evictions and that kind of thing. So that's going on right now. Some good news that we have, some good news for Chris Bosler, especially, who does our city docket, is we're switching judges there. We liked the judge we had this year very much, Judge Perkins, but he was not ready to have everybody back in his courtroom. So we were doing a blended docket, and that's very difficult to staff. The city doesn't have great Wi-Fi, and we had to basically have someone here at the office on the online docket while Chris was down there in person on the in-person docket. And it's just very cumbersome and time consuming. I can tell you that yesterday we had a very large docket in St. Louis County. There were over 400 cases, and we had everybody taken care of by 10 o'clock on a 9 o'clock docket because it was in person. So in person is just much more efficient. But the judge we're going to have next year in our division in the city, Judge Reuther, is a judge we've had before. He's great, he's experienced, and he's going to do everything in person, no virtual. So it'll be a lot easier. I don't know if anybody does the pro se landlord docket in the city. I understand that the other judge down there, who is new, Judge Woodiest, very nice person, very good judge, is also already doing everything in person. So if you're doing the pro se docket or anything like that, I think you might have to be prepared to be coming in person from now on. And I think that frankly will be better. We did this big docket in the county yesterday, and there's still people coming in telling me they're getting safer money. I don't know when that money will run out, but it's kind of stunning, and that it's still going on. We also try to refer people to, the United Way and that kind of thing if they need help, with rental assistance. That being said, it's up to the client what they want to accept and, how much time they want to give and for that to happen and that kind of thing. But people were saying, oh yeah, I'm going to get $9,000 from Safer and all this. So we all still have tenant getting safer money in the city. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me it hasn't run out. So that's still going on. What else? I'm on a new committee that's a standing committee of the Missouri Supreme Court about associate civil practice. And there's only one other plaintiff lawyer on the committee, Jimmy Fendelman. He does a lot of straight collection work. So I'm the only one defending the landlords on this committee, and they got like 6 legal aid people from all over the state. And they're already trying to roll me, I can tell you, but I'm not going to make it easy for them. This is not social work. This is court. And this committee, one of our things we're supposed to do is to help everybody with access to justice. But that's access to justice. It's not access to winning a case that you shouldn't win. There was a guy today who was trying to say that the tenants should be allowed to put statements into evidence of third parties without having them notarized. And both myself and a couple of the judges put our feet down because, you know, I'm like, we get to cross-examine, you know, we get to have some validation. And I told them, I said, I don't think you're doing your litigants any favors because, you know, sometimes these people are desperate or just not real bright or whatever, and they're going to try to put stuff into evidence that isn't true. And they don't understand that that's perjury and carries penalties, and, you know, they could get in trouble. So we won it. We won today, but we'll see. That's going to be an ongoing battle for a while, I think. All our other counties seem to be running well. We're switching judges in the county too. We're going from Judge Medler to Judge Newsham. And we like Judge Newsham just fine. I've known him for many, many, many years. As he always reminds me, and I remind him that I started practicing when I was 5, so I'm not as old as he is. We were buddies running around doing dockets in St. Charles in the 80s. So he's certainly experienced and been on the bench for a long time, and we think we'll do well in his division. We have one landlord lawyer who some of you might know. I'm not going to mention any names, but he's very difficult and he's driving everybody crazy in the county. And we're worried about that because he pushes the envelope and then he gets the responses. They hand down rules that apply to all of us just to keep him in line. So we're fighting that a little bit too. We're getting a new judge in St. Charles as well, just that time of the year, but we don't know who. I think in Jefferson, we're keeping the same person. And our judge in Lincoln County did not win his election. So we don't know the new person there. Lincoln County is the judicial dumpster fire of Missouri. There's always some craziness going on out there. Some of you may have heard of that Pam Hupp case, and there was a movie on TV with Renee Zellweger and everything. Yeah, it's crazy land. So I'm trying to think of something else. Oh, pretty soon, our exciting lunatics in the legislature will be trying to pass new legislation, and the bar and the Supreme Court seem to want to put me on all these committees. So I'm on a committee that will start next Friday afternoon that will be talking about legislation and what we should react to. So I should know pretty quickly, probably by the time I see you in January, if there's anything pending that I might ask you to contact your legislators about, or, you know, that kind of thing that could be damaging to us. I kind of doubt it. I'm not a conservative Republican, but a conservative Republican legislature is generally good for my clients, and not too much happens that we have to be worried about. But I'll let you know if there's anything that's going to be a concern. So, and again, next month, Mike, my husband, had this lung transplant. It's going great, but he has to have these bronchoscopies, and that's scheduled for the first Friday again. So I think next month I'll come the second Friday again, if that's okay with everybody. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Let me look in the chat. Oh, just nice comments in the chat.
Yeah.
Hey, Kathy,
Appreciate that. But
I have a question about safer money. That's
Yeah.
only for that's only for rent. It's not for mortgage payments, correct?
I don't know. I say, you know, safer might just be for rent, but I think there's an equivalent that's for mortgage payments.
I've gotten some mortgage payments from one client.
Have you?
Yes. I
I know that-
Who's talking?
mean,
John.
Dwayne, I've gotten some mortgage payments from one of my clients. from Safer Money.
From
I
Safer?
did not fill out the forms because they wanted me to do it as rent. And I said I would not lie because she's buying it. What we did is we had to get a form notarized. She sent that in, and then she got several, a few $1,000s anyway that she paid me with.
Yeah, I'm looking at the MHDC website right now, Dwayne, and it says the SAFER programs include emergency rental assistance, utility assistance, and mortgage assistance. So also counseling for mortgages. So I don't know. I just had a person get out of a foreclosure because they got private charitable money, which is more what we're used to. I haven't had anybody get SAFER money to stop a foreclosure. But,
Judy's got in there. She's gotten, had a tenant, also got some to buy a house. So yeah, I don't know what the rules are, but I know we have personally gotten money from them. It goes to the tenant though, or to the buyer, and then they give you the money. It didn't not come directly.
well,
What did the letter you had to sign or have notarized say?
Ours was just the contract for deed that we had notarized. It was just a copy of what I already used, but they wanted it notarized. So we met at the bank. It was pretty painless. I mean, it took me a half hour to go meet her at the bank. That was it.
Okay.
someone had put a question in the chat, any evictions happening during the holidays? It's true that I don't think there are any court dates after next week until after the first of the year, although Chris might have one in the city the week before Christmas, because his judge had to take some time off earlier. So Chris possibly has court on the 21st, but I know the judges in the county are shutting down at the end of next week. They're all moving divisions. Our judge we've had this year, Medler, is going over to one of the divisions in the jail because he's going to do a criminal assignment next year. So I'm just looking at the calendar. Yeah, in the county, however, our new judge is starting us January 4th. So we're not having to wait a couple of weeks into the new year, which is good. I'm not sure what the sheriffs are doing in the respective jurisdictions. In the city, it's really been the tradition that the last couple of weeks a year, they don't do any evictions. In the county, I don't think they spend that much time not doing them, but they may cut that back for a few days anyway. And someone has a question to repayment of a promissory note to another investor. Jean, do you want to call me about that? Because if it's another investor, I might want to make sure I don't have a conflict before I answer it.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Question about a squatter? Sure, go ahead with that.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, so I've got a house under contract that I would like to wholesale, and I've been working with the seller who inherited it. And we went to go walk the property the other day thinking it was vacant. And when we knocked on the door, everything was locked. We knew he didn't have like a key, but when we were sort of trying to figure out how to get in, we saw somebody in there. He thinks he might know who it is, and based on who he thinks it might be, my understanding is they may have some sort of rights, tenant rights. Here's my real question, because I don't have details. My real question is, what would the best next step be for me as someone who needs to figure out how to get this house vacant at some point? Like, is it a police call out? Is it a lawyer hiring? Like, what's the next best step? Or a posting a notice? Like, I don't know.
So first of all, we need to figure out what the rights of the person are who is in there. Did they rent from the owner? Do we know how they're in there?
No, and we do not know for sure who it is. To be honest, we just have a guess. So we don't even know who it is.
How was the house acquired?
Inheritance. And this person that it might be would have grown up in the house, at one point lived in the house, then one point moved out, and then apparently moved himself back in. If that's who it is.
They're not a tenant. They're just someone.
They don't have a lease or anything like that. They weren't evicted or anything like that.
Well, oddly enough, it's kind of better if they're a tenant because it's easier to get them out, and you would want your seller to get them out before you take title. But if you're if they didn't have a previous tenant relationship with your seller or their predecessor, it's just as easy for you to buy the property and kick them out. You know, we'll say, try to call the police, but the police often will say it's a civil matter. And then you have to, you know, hire us or hire somebody do an ejectment. It's a little bit more of a complicated eviction than typical tenant evictions because it's in circuit court. The rules are more strict, you know, that kind of thing. Costs a little more, probably takes a little longer. There's also the, you know, the cash for keys if you can figure out who it is. And maybe it's someone who just re-entered to check things out or remove belongings or something, and maybe they're not really there. The owner of the property should be able to find out if utilities are being paid. Maybe they still have them on. But, you know, if it's a place where an occupancy permit is required, you might be able to find that out.
Okay, got it. I'm making notes. That's why I might look like I disappeared.
No, it's
Yeah, I
okay.
was writing on my phone. Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. So, yeah, one of the reasons why I thought calling the police might be a good first step is really not because I believe that they can do anything for me, but the presence of the police and even a
Right.
couple minute conversation with that person may get them resolved to the point where they're just like, I'm out of here, you know, or, you know, maybe them showing the police their ID freaks them out so much because they've got a warrant or whatever that they bug off.
Right. I mean, that's
So
not
that was
necessarily a bad step. It's just not always going to solve everything.
totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, I took notes on that. I appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah,
Thank
call
you
me
so
if
much.
you have any more. And right now, because of everything that my husband's doing, I'm more available in the afternoons than the mornings. For anybody
Okay,
who's-
got it.
Okay. The
Okay.
next question is squatters in the city, in vacant house next door to the rental, management company in Texas. We have no legal standing, but vagrants live next door. Do you have a neighborhood, a problem properties officer? Or an NSO or whatever they're calling them now? No, you don't. Where is it? What ward is it? Okay, I'm not sure who the alderman is in the patch, but are you familiar with the Citizen Service Bureau? Oh gosh, the alderman was busted. Okay, if you go on the city's website, there's a thing called the Citizen Service Bureau, and you can file a complaint through that portal saying that, you know, it's a problem property. You could also call the St. Louis, the city councilor's office. They operate out of a building by City Hall, and they have problem property lawyers that are specialists in that. And if you can get hold of one of them, I think Rich Sikora, Sykora, is in charge of the whole unit. He might be able to tell you who your problem property officer or NSO or whatever they're calling them now is. And that would be a good person to get involved. There is also the, there's a project that Legal Services is doing. Peter Hoffman is in charge of it. It's Legal Services of Eastern Missouri. Hang on, let me look up the phone number.
Peter Hoffman will be talking to our group in January.
Okay, perfect.
So
If you can wait that long, he's someone who is running groups of volunteer lawyers who are suing buildings, owners of buildings like the one that's giving you a problem for nuisance. And I think that they are willing to represent neighborhood associations and that kind of thing at no charge to help with the vacancy nuisance problem. Okay. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That you come to
Oh, I
speak.
also
Sure.
have his telephone number. I just met him last week. If
Oh,
you want
good.
Peter Hoffman's number, it's 314-256-8744, and I'll put it in the chat.
Perfect. Okay, guys, anybody else got anything? I'll see you in a month.
thank you very much, Kathy. A lot of
Thank
good
you.
stuff today.
Thank you,
Happy
Kathy.
holidays.
Appreciate it.
Have a
Merry
have a good
Christmas.
holiday.
Yep.
Okay, anybody else wants to hang on here? We're gonna do a little networking, have some wants, whatever have you. I'm Lloyd Allender. Thank you, John, for sponsoring this. And first of all, I guess we'll have Laura Lee on here and let her do a little housekeeping for St. Louis REIA.
Yep.
Laura?
Let's see, good morning and welcome, everyone. First, like Lloyd said, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We are here to share deals, look for deals and solutions we have and need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisor, attorney, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday each month, except this time it was the second, and in January it'll be the second Friday of the month, is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Catherine Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And who wants to start out today? You got something? We had a few discussions going on earlier about before Kathy came on. Anybody wants to continue that or have some unanswered things? Oh, Sandra's on here today. Hi, Sandra. She wants to a referral to a lender who does multifamilies. Anybody know particularly a property in 45 units that needs upgrades in the city of St. Louis? Anybody know any lenders who are currently lending in the city of St. Louis on multifamilies up to a 45 unit? Or Sandra? No, see, I don't see Carrie on here this morning from New Frontier Bank. I'm not sure if they're operating. I know they operate in St. Charles and St. Louis County. I'm not sure about the city. And I don't see her on here this morning. Anybody else know of any lenders? We're working with a lender now that they've gotten lending. Oh, here, Laura. Okay, she says, Doug Weber at First State Bank in St. Charles, possibly. Okay. Yeah, I haven't dealt with First State for a long time, but yeah. Yeah, local banks are usually a little more flexible on working on local deals. So anyway, yeah, we'll keep you in mind, Sandra. You want to give your contact information in the chat there, and I'll say it over the waves here while for our people that might be watch this on a lot of people that watch it on the replay and they can't see the chat. Okay, yeah, Sandra's number is 314-532-3212. That's Sandra Keeley, 314-532-3212. Kind of got a little ring to it with all those twos. Oh, and she also her email address is info@sk2enterprises.com. Okay, here, we got Adrian's got a recommendation here. U.S. Mortgage. Doug Davis with U.S. Mortgage is a phenomenal lender. Get a recommendation there. 314-409-8066. There you go, Sandra. We got a couple of recommendations.
I was at a recent seminar and I think the New Frontier was there and they painted a pretty good picture about what they'll loan on, but I haven't done any business with them.
Okay, no, I've been visiting with New Frontier. Yeah, I'd recommend you. Yeah, they seem to be getting more active. They were just active in St. Charles County when they first started out, but I think they got some new management now. It's looking at. I know they've from what Carrie has told us when she's been on. They lend in St. Louis County and probably in the city too. So New Frontier and Carrie Curley is her name. I don't have her contact number right here. But we can get it to you. In fact, let me take down your contact information. And let you know.
Yeah, Carrie's usually on here. Let me see if I can look at my notes for the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
see if
okay, yeah. Do you have her contact information there?
I don't have it in my phone, but let me see if I can find it and I'll
That's okay. Yeah.
share it.
Okay. Oh, and okay, Laura's Lennington's also got Adrian Hartman from Colliers. It's another one. Got that in the chat. Adrian.Hartman@colliers.com. Somebody's asking about somebody's located in Arkansas and so wholesaling. Yeah, we do have wholesalers here. We usually have one or two. In fact, Laura Lennington's on. She's still doing some wholesaling.
I'm here. I'll put my contact information in the chat. I actually have a wholesale deal to talk about today. So, but yeah, I can put my information in the chat and reach out if you want.
Sure.
Yeah, Destiny, are you looking to buy or sell, or what exactly are you looking for in wholesaling? You can unmute yourself if you'd like to tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am 21 years old and I've had my real estate license as an agent for almost 2 years. But now I'm more interested in wholesaling, but like I don't know who to speak to regarding that. Like I've been doing a lot of research on my own, but I would definitely like to speak to someone who's already doing what I'm trying to do and build my real estate portfolio.
I don't know, John, do you have any recommendations for?
Well, yeah, Laura would be a good one to talk to. I mean, she kind of gets you in the right direction. It depends on if you want to wholesale stuff and make money on it, or if you want to use it, with your professional license. I mean, that's a line, that you'll have to take a look at, because you don't want to do anything against your license to get yourself in trouble. Then again, I know people that have their license and they operate on a wholesale basis and on that. So it really just depends on what you want to focus on. But yeah, this is a good place to bring deals. If you come across deals, if you're looking in your area, or if you're looking in the St. Louis area, this is a place where you'll find your buyers, but you'll also find people that want to sell properties here. So it just depends on which way you want to go with it, because there are a lot of different avenues to go. But this is a good spot to bring your deals or find your deals.
Okay.
Either
Thank
way.
you.
Destiny. Mm-hmm.
So speaking of wholesale deals, if it's okay, I'd like to share one that I have available now.
Sure, go ahead, Laura.
Okay, and I might go off. I'm going to read off the email that I sent out so I can get some details to you guys. And I don't know if it takes me off camera or not, but I'm here. So let me pull up, and I'm in the car, so I'm limited. So the address is 918 Wachtel Avenue, Wachtel, and that's South County. So 63125. It's in the Lee May area. It's a good little area. I actually own an apartment building really close to that. So it's a good little area. Asking price on this is $70,000. This is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. Looking to close on or before January the 5th. It's currently vacant. Tenants are in the process of moving all of their things out. It's not too bad, not a hoarder situation, but they may leave some things behind. Hopefully they get most of it out. Already looking pretty good though. We think that this would rent for about $1,050, somewhere between $1,000 and $1,100 a month. It was previously renting at $800, but they were not raising the rent either. I believe the ARV is 140,000. I believe I have 3 really good comps that show that. and also have a fourth comp for the house right next door that literally just sold. Moving truck was out front the other day, and that's a 3-2 that sold for 195. So it's not a true comp because it is more bedrooms and more bathrooms, but you can see that the values are holding even right next door. It does need a cosmetic uplift, just paint touch-ups, floor touch-ups, outside landscaping. I'd say max repairs anybody could justify putting into this would be 30 grand. Probably could get it done for way, way less. And all systems are 10 years old or newer, including the roof. And let's see, asking buyer to pay normal closing costs for buyer and seller. My contact information is in the chat, but I will say it out loud. If you're interested in something like this, let me know. Again, ARV 140, repairs couldn't be more than 30, and we're asking 70. So I think that works. And my name is Laura Lennington. My phone number is 636-587-0363. My email address is Laura, Laura, .c as in cat, .lennington, LENINGTON @gmail.com. And the last thing I will say is that I am a licensed agent. And so I'm disclosing that since I'm talking about this property, but I'm not representing anybody. I'm owner by contract. That's the deal I have today. Reach out to me if interested.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
Laura, could you put the address in the chat?
Yep, do it right now.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Sounds like a nice little potential rental there in South City or South on Lima, South County. So,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I've been in it personally. It's a good looking little house. And I got pictures and everything, so I could share that with anybody who's interested. But I don't think this thing needs much whatsoever, especially as a rental. It's very, very close.
okay, great.
That is a good area too. My sister lives right in that area.
Yeah, thanks. I agree. It really is. Yep.
Okay, see, Andre has a fix and flip in South City. On Allen, you want to unmute yourself and give us any more details on that? You got it in the chat here.
All right, thanks a lot. Hello to everyone. Again, I was on last week and I was talking about this this project. We had an offer and it just didn't go through. But again, it's a fix and flip rehab project. It's in the city of St. Louis, down in McKinley Heights. That's a beautiful neighborhood. It's between Soulard and Lafayette Square. So the property value in that area is outstanding. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Needs some work. We're asking, well, the investor I'm representing is asking $125 for the property. The ARV is at least 290 or above, at least 290 though. I do have comps if someone is interested in the comps that are ran on the property. Looking to try to move this property for the investor. And full disclosure, I am a real estate agent. I think most people there know that, but I do want to let everyone know I am a real estate agent.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Okay, Tiffany had talked earlier about, before we got, Kathy came on, about wanting to know if anybody was doing owner financing. Does anybody have a home, maybe possibly a rental or something that they're looking to do? I think she wants to get into turn it into a rental that they'd be willing to do owner financing on. You want to give any more particulars, Tiffany? You want to unmute yourself and tell us if there's a particular area you're looking at?
Lauren. I mean, there's no particular area that I was looking for. but anything North Counties, South St. Louis, even in the city, actually. Like I said, I'm just trying to start my get my portfolio going, and if anyone is interested in it, I can put my email and my phone number in the comments if someone is open to owner financing.
Okay, why don't you do that? In fact, I had there was another one of our longtime members who was trying to sell some of his rentals back, a couple months ago, and I'm not sure if he. Last time I talked with him, he still had not sold them all. So, and I think he's a long time, he owns them all free and clear. And probably doesn't want to pay $1 taxes in 1 year, so he won't do some financing. You can put your contact information there.
Okay.
I'll forward. I'll look up his contact information and forward it to you. Okay, in the meantime, anybody else got anything?
Looks like Joe put in Carrie's contact information in the chat there. Thank you, Joe.
Oh, did Joe do that? Okay. Yeah, thank you, Joe. Yeah, I saw it there. I thought maybe you put it in, John. Thank you, Joe.
I didn't have all them numbers. I don't have her fax number.
He's got everything. He's got her license.
I talked to Carrie about something that I'm trying to do as well. I agree. They seem to really, so far anyway, we're not very deep in the conversations, willing to look at about most anything. So, and she did mention the new ownership, just like someone else mentioned. So I think it's worth a call to her for anybody who's looking for some flexibility.
Okay. Yeah, I thought they were pretty flexible for investors. In fact, when I was in my acquisition phase back in the 09, 10, and 11, that they were very, very flexible. I had a line of credit based on some properties I had free and clear. They set me up a line of credit, and I was able to make a lot of cash offers on a lot of foreclosures back then, and really worked out well. And then when I had them all rehabbed and ready for rent, they came in, did their appraisal and loaned 80% of appraisal. So very very easy to work with. I still got 2 of those that I still own as rentals today, and still have a mortgage with them. Okay. Okay, there's Tiffany's number. Okay, thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you, Lord.
Okay, and anybody else got anything? If not, I've got something I'll talk about now. I had it on my list, but I was going to wait till we had a lull in the conversation here.
I have one more thing I might mention.
Oh yeah, okay, Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, so everybody heard me ask my question to Kathy about the squatter. The deal I just talked about is not that deal. First of all, I just want to make that clear. But I am working on that other one with this potential squatter. And so here's my question. I'm not marketing that yet. However, this I truly believe will be a tear down new construction situation. And I also know that a lot of people are pausing on new construction due to the combined cost of like interest rates and building costs. But I bet not everybody is, right? And I bet that if we can make a deal work for somebody, I think we have it under contract at a really great price. And the 2 houses on that side of the street to the right and the next one over, like almost touching this house, they're both new construction. So it's happening. This isn't my wholesaler mind making things up, okay? It's happening already. I'm curious, again, I'm not really marketing this heavily yet, but I'm just curious, is there anybody out there that would be interested in a new construction neighborhood to build a new house on, tear one down? I'd like to reach out to you. Maybe I can tell you a little bit about what's going on with this squatter. We could join forces. If you're one of these people and you'd be willing to buy with a potential squatter and you know you're not going to break ground until May, and you don't care if they tear the house up because it's going to get torn down and it gets you a better deal, you know, like, let's brainstorm is what I'm getting at. If this sounds, this is, by the way, like the Clayton Tam neighborhood, right by Forest Park. It's about 4 blocks away from Forest Park. Again, new construction happening already. And if this is something that you want to, you know, reach out to me about, let me know. It's a double lot. So that's another great thing about this particular house. And my contact info is in the chat. Again, it's Laura Leddington, 636-587-0363.
Okay. Thank you, Laura. Okay, Eric.
Okay, I got something.
Yeah, go ahead.
In Jefferson County, I have 4 community lake lots for sale. 2 of them which is in Cedar Lake area. Very nice area, and owner financing is available for these lots. I will leave my number and everything in the chat, because like I said, I have 4 of them. 2 of them in Cedar Lake. I think 1 is Rain Tree, and I have another one as well. So I will leave the number and everything for information. You can give me a call, or I'll put my email in there and email me.
Okay.
Okay, my number is 314-624-1971. And my email will be, I'll spell it out to you, ERICKOONCE60@gmail.com. And I'll leave that information as well in the chat.
Okay, very good. Alrighty, well, I'll throw mine out here now. Anybody that's looking, that has a rental, might be looking for a range, or even if you're updating your own kitchen. I mentioned here last week that I was out shopping some Black Friday deals on new appliances for our kitchen renovation, and scored a couple good ones, but they won't hold them. I was looking at Home Depot. They said they'd hold them till up to 90 days. So that's great. But got a better deal at Lowe's, and but they won't hold them for 90 days. And they're delivering a new refrigerator and range next Tuesday is the date. We'll see if that really plays out. But it's Tuesday, and I've got a like new. It's white. Electric range, glass top, convection oven, even has the 5th little warming burner on the top. It was one of the top of the line ones for just a freestanding range back in about, I think it was 2003 to 2005. I would upgrade it to one of my own rentals, but all of my rentals that have white electric ranges are newer than this one. They may not look as nice as this one, because this one my wife maintains pretty well. And in fact, she's going to clean the interior this afternoon to get it ready for the next owner. So not my doings, but she won't have it leave the house, even if it's got one spot on it. So it looks like a new one. Like I said, it looks better than a 2-year-old one that I put in some of my rentals, but she won't let me store it either until one of my ranges goes out. So make somebody a deal. I'd say $100 for a new range that maybe 15 to 20 years old. I haven't gone back through my record to see. I probably got the warranties and everything on it, but they've all expired. But it's good range. It's a Frigidaire. It was a consumer Best Buy back in the day, and I think Frigidaire still has a good record because we have done zero repairs to it in the 15, 20 years that we've had it. So anyway, and then later on, I'll give you the option of for an extra $25 of taking our microwave when it becomes available in January or February when we actually do our tear out. But we're going to go ahead and update the appliances now. I got a home for already in one of my rentals for a refrigerator, so those don't last as long. And I've got a 2-year-old refrigerator, so I'm going to update one of my rentals there. But got a nice electric range, glass top. Anybody's interested, maybe shoot me a text, and I can send you some pictures of it. I took some pictures this morning. My number is 636-578-2107. Again, that's 636-578-2107. Shoot me a text and I'll send you some pictures of the range. Like I said, $100 for a range. Back a couple years ago, I upgraded. I was selling one of my nicer rentals, and it had about a 10-year-old range that looked, it was working fine, but it didn't look so great. And I sold that for $100 to somebody to go in their rental house, another rental house. So this is even a better deal here. Like I said, very nice convection range, glass top. Shoot me a text and I'll send you some pictures, and you can even come look at it before next Tuesday if you want to see it working. If you don't trust, take my word for it. So that's what I've got. Anybody else?
Great. Can you put your number in the chat, please, Lloyd? I know you mentioned it, which is
I
good
can do that.
for anybody to write
Okay,
down.
I'll
Don't
follow
mind. Yeah, there.
Somebody's already asking for it. Okay, we can do
Good
that.
deal for somebody. I know they cost a lot more. I paid a lot more.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to tell me. I paid 10 times that for a new one there. We're getting the induction burner freestanding ranges now. And so yeah, it's they are not cheap.
If anyone knows of anyone who's looking for a completely rehabbed house, I have one in Rock Hill. I know it's not really for this audience because it's not really something that folks would be interested here unless it was a long-term hold and rental property. Very nice, pretty much completely redone, nice big backyard, fenced in, and it's just past Hacienda, if you know where that is, off Manchester Road, that I have for sale by owner. 901 Tavalon is the address. Be a good starter home for someone. 3-bedroom, 2 baths.
What was that address again, Joe? It kind of faded out when you
901 Tavalon. I'll put it in the
Tavalon. Okay.
put it in the chat.
Okay. Do you have a price in mind that you for that?
Yeah, it's 279.
279.
Been
Okay.
pretty much, it's, again, probably not for this audience because it's
Okay.
not something that someone here is probably likely to make money on, but it's, if you know of anybody that's looking for a good starter home, it's been pretty much not a gut rehab, but pretty much completely rehabbed. New HVAC, new roof, a lot of things. New kitchen,
Nice.
one new bath. So it's out on Zillow as well if somebody want to take a look at it. So if you have any friends or family that are looking for a house that's I'll stand by. It's because it's been done right.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, can you drop the Zillow link into the meeting?
Yeah, let's see if I'm talented enough to do that here. If not, it's the address that'll pull it right up, but I'll try to do that.
Okay.
I'll follow up with it here.
Okay. And Amber, since you're on, I was gonna bring up, I got something from a publication from the city of St. Charles. They finally come up with some guidelines on what they're doing for short-term rentals, what they'll allow for short-term rentals. I was considering it when I was looking for condos, but I couldn't find any condos that would allow, condo associations that would allow short-term rentals. So I don't have any yet. But yeah, they're in St. Charles. I don't know if anybody else lives in St. Charles got this information. New short-term rental properties in a residential area have to be at least 500 feet apart. And I'm not sure if this is similar to St. Louis County. Anybody, if you're familiar with St. Louis City or St. Louis County, if they have guidelines. And then they want no more than 0.5% of the residential units in the city to be used as short-term rentals. And also, yeah, that translates to eliminating 150 short-term rentals in residential areas in the city of St. Charles. And one thing I found out was sounds strange. You must install noise monitors to be installed in all short-term rentals to prevent parties. I didn't know there was such a thing as a noise monitor. Anybody familiar with that? Yeah. Anyway, I guess they're just looking at. I'm sure this isn't anything new that St. Charles renovated came up with. They were looking at all the issues that other areas like the city of Washington Avenue has with their have had big parties going on in with short-term rentals. So, and also they want annual inspections, which I'm sure is going to be a revenue generator for the city, and that's what it's all about. We know, I'm sure.
I think that noise thing means that you have to go to all the parties and listen.
You have to. Oh, okay. Is that what that means? You have to be a noise monitor.
That's what I hear.
And then you call the police when it gets too loud.
And that's it.
And
leave.
And shut down your But yeah, that was the first I heard of that. And then of course they have to have a public hearing where they before you can have it for in your area, like a zoning change or something, I guess. But anyway, and of course, yeah, that I said, and then you have to pay an annual fee. They don't disclose here what the annual fee is, but it's probably going to be at least as much as the rental inspections are currently $50 per inspection. So I'm sure it'll be at least that, maybe more if they think they can get more for a short-term rental.
Joe, would you like to put your contact information in there?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Best way that you would like for people to get a hold of you? If you don't mind mentioning
Absolutely.
it and then just typing it in, that'd be
Which
great.
property? Yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
Anyway. Yeah, I saw Amber put a smiley, big grin when it said noise monitor. I'm not sure what that involves either.
Well, I think you hit the head on the nail, because it's all about money, and these towns or cities are trying to regulate so that they can get a piece of the pie. Right now, the only person who is getting a part of, I mean, for the most part, a part of your profits is Airbnb, VRBO, whoever. And then of course taxes, but they're the only ones who are getting that money. So the cities are trying to figure out, well, how can I get some money and regulate? I mean, and I understand, but the truth of the matter is, just like they, in Atlanta, they came up with these ideas and, quick turnaround, and or they're going to shut you down. Who's going to shut you down? Who's monitoring this? Who's going out there and inspecting? Nobody. And so it's laughable that they come up with these things, but don't have any way to execute. So.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, probably St. Charles does have enough inspectors to regulate it, though. That's, I see, I see their, what do they call it? Community development. They don't call code enforcement or the code police, but they have these little white pickup trucks. They cruise around the neighborhood looking for somebody that might be doing some renovation without a permit or whatever else they're looking for, putting up a fence that's a little too high. Yeah, they're cruising the streets and they're so
Funny,
they
you should bring them up, Lloyd. They're called community development.
yes, community development. They're trying
Yes,
to
and they come around and tell you what you're doing wrong that you didn't even know you're doing wrong on.
sure.
And
Yeah.
then they're bullies if you don't jump right on it.
Mhm.
I was experienced that pleasure.
I try to avoid it. So far, I've managed for the most part.
Good call.
Anyway, okay, there. See, Joe's got his contact information in there. Anybody else got anything for today or have anything to add to the Airbnb short-term rental conversation?
Did anybody get Sandra Keel's phone number?
Sandra, yes, I did, because I was going to contact her. But then Joe put in the contact information for New Frontier. No, Sandra's number is 314-532-3212.
3212.
Yeah. She's looking for financing for 45 units in the city.
Okay. That's all I needed.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and I hope we helped.
Hey, if we can have a discussion, this short-term rental thing. You remember a few years back, the rage for making big money was Airbnbs. And now it's short-term rentals. And years ago, when they were doing Airbnbs, I only found one or two friends that were actually willing to share their books, and they weren't making as much as what other people always claimed to be. And in a seminar I was in Branson about a month and a half ago, I met a lady who's doing short-term rentals. And so far she's taken a bath, and she's been under the tutelage, according to her, of the lady putting it on. So I'm not so sure that that's really going to be what it is. But the interesting thing is when she started her speech, she said, you buy these short-term rentals as though they were going to be rentals. And then if short-term rental doesn't work out, you can rent it and still make money. So you might think about that, because that'll bring the price way, way down. So enough said for me.
I'm sorry, I missed, I think I was typing when the short-term rental came up. My wife and I have had a short-term rental in the city, an Airbnb, and through FBRO for about 3 years. We sold the property and then bought that. This is something that I was interested in. The key for us, and somebody brought this up on the last call or so, I think it was a call before, is you really have to have a management company keep them filled. And we use a company called Abode Bucks, and they do a fantastic job. We're doing okay on it. I mean, we're not getting rich off of it, but it's doing pretty well. And during COVID, it got hit, of course, but then it came back with a vengeance because people did not want to stay in hotels. So we're in the black on it. And I would highly recommend that if anybody's wanting to get into it, to talk to Abode Bucks, because they know the types of things to look for. In other words, their first thing was buy a big house, don't buy a small house. Because when people rent those houses, 2 or 3 parties can rent them together and they're affordable. where if you have a small house, it's not as affordable. The other thing is, there's a lot of different reasons people come to St. Louis that you don't realize. And I'm talking St. Louis, but the biggest problem with the Airbnbs or short-term rentals, I know some people violate the rules, but I think the city is the only one that actually allows it. Even though I know a few people outside in the county that are doing it anyway and doing it quite well. One right down the road from this 901 Tavalon is short-term renting to traveling nurses and evidently doing really well. But that's hearsay on that one.
Yeah, I know.
So I think,
Yeah, Amber Gray has short-term rentals that she's got at least one that she does traveling nurses and had a good job with it. Can you say the name of that management company again?
I'll put it in.
Yeah,
I don't have
put it
the
in.
phone number handy, but it's a husband and wife that run the company. It's a hard name to get onto. Took me a long time. But you'll look it up and you'll find it.
Sure.
And the key is keeping them, of course, rented. They're mostly rented on the weekends, not so much during the week. Keeping them clean, keeping them, ready. And one of the key things they have is they have the software that they've purchased, and I think have even helped develop further, where they know what all the hotels are charging. So they can price accordingly. And this house is a 5-bedroom house, and it will range anywhere from $250 a night to, I think the most we ever got was about $600 a night. So it's a matter of how you go about it. And a friend of mine had recommended these folks, and it's worked out really well, and they're great, and they're great people. So, but if we had to do this on our own, it probably would have failed a long time ago, because there's no way we could keep up with, people calling and saying, where's the key? How do I get in? This is wrong. Not that we've had that many problems, but a lot of little things like that. We have a 5-star rating, I think, and we're a super host. We would have never been that without this company. Never.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my concern about it. Yeah. That's been my concern. It's very, very management intensive, just like having a one-room hotel if you got one house. Having housekeeping coming in between every client and getting everything restocked. But everything else you have to furnish and replace.
It's worth a second look, and I think a call into them just to learn about it would be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you add your phone number, Joe?
I have my phone number above, but I'll put it here again. I don't have a Bode Bucks, but all you have to do is Google Bode Bucks and you'll find it.
I understand that, but that's not you.
Yeah, feel free to call me anytime. I'm happy to talk about our experience, and I'll even have to kind of get up on the books, but I'm happy to share, at least anecdotally how we've done.
Right.
Yeah, thanks for that input. Yeah, because that's been one of my concerns before getting into it. I would have to have a management company and.
Yeah, that's pretty much, unless you're going to do it full time. And even a buddy of mine kind of did it full time, and he was successful, but he finally said no mas, and because he couldn't handle the phone calls in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got a Bode Bucks out there already.
Oh, okay. Somebody found it already. Pamela found it for us.
They're St. Louis companies, so I'm surprised at 833, but.
Okay. Well, I guess they take calls from all over.
Yeah, they do.
Reservation,
Absolutely.
so that's probably why they have an 800 number. So that's good. If they're set up for it and got the.
They got a big arch on there. Yeah, that's the right number. Mm-hmm.
And they charge a percentage of the.
So they charge they charge so much per excuse me, trying to remember exactly, they charge so much per night, whether it's rented or not. Which is good and bad, right? If you get really good rental rates, it's not more, but if it's not rented, you're paying something for it. And then the cleaning fee gets charged to the tenant or the the visitor.
Oh, okay. So they pay for the fee.
They charge it to them. I mean, it comes